When you play the flute, you're translating an ideal into sound, and it's a very direct and immediate connection. When you conduct, your instrument becomes 80 people. And that's quite a big shift in the mind. But what is incredibly similar, I find, and I know when I'm conducting at my best, is when I'm no longer conscious of what I'm doing. It becomes an organic growth out of your inner being. My flute playing has evolved, and I suppose I've become known for a certain way of presenting concerts, usually from memory. I play from the heart, and I give to people's hearts. Because I really feel that what comes from the heart is authentic. And out of that style of performance grew an approach to teaching, which has become known as my method called love. And then in 2015, I got invited to do a residency at the Australian National Academy of Music in Melbourne. And they asked me, would you like to conduct Poulenc's Aubade, a piano concerto for piano and 18 instruments? And that week proved to be a real turning point for me. I did it out of curiosity, but the impact was profound, and I discussed with my wife, and we decided that I'm going to take conducting lessons. A year later, I found myself at the Maestro George Pelivanian's masterclass in Le Touquet in France. And that was the beginning of my 2 years of studying conducting under a really wonderful master. I can't deny the fact that I'm a wind player, and absolutely central to playing with power and conviction and control is breathing. Try to come in without tongue. Not ta, especially for the reed instruments. It's very hard. Don't find the reed. Find the control to start the air almost before you play the note. Try that together. The art of breathing in music is everything. A large part of my motivational rehearsing technique is to sensitize all of us to those moments of silence in which the breath is born and out of which the music is born. I find that this is very helpful for unifying the orchestra. And that's useful for the string players, the percussionists, the double bass players, and the wind players, of course. Maestro Pelivanian's coaching and mentoring has meant a great deal, because I'm dealing with now, and I'm moving forward with my conducting technique and forging my approach in conducting. Now it's come to the point where I was trying to decide, well, how do I move forward with my conducting? Do I find an assistantship to someone conducting an orchestra? I thought maybe the best way forward would be to start my own orchestra. And I did exactly that a year ago. I founded the Pro Youth Philharmonia, and we've had 2 tours so far. And that was a very good decision. I've learned so much from the challenge of creating an orchestra and all the ideals that come with creating something new. Because you know, when you conduct an orchestra, there is a history to that orchestra, there's a tradition, there's a way of playing, and there are fixed kind of realities that you're dealing with. When you're creating a new orchestra, you're starting from scratch. So it was a chance for me to build in the method called love into the heart and soul of young players, actually not so young, between the ages of 22 and 32. So that's allowed me to find my special approach and to work on my special approach. That's the journey from flute player to conductor. And what has been this fanatic, I don't like the word fanatic, this profoundly energizing and motivating search in my flute playing, which has allowed me to refine so much detail and into every gesture in my sound. Well, that I'm translating it to every smallest gesture in my arm, my hand, and my body language. Another aspect of rehearsal that I'm very keen to use as often as I can, depending on how much time we have, of course, in rehearsal, is improvisation. Before you enter into the notes, get yourself ready. Classically trained musicians, we tend to read music far too much, and reading is too reactive a zone to be in, to be able to really pull out all the stops in a performance. So whenever possible, I encourage small improvisation sessions within a rehearsal. Quite often when a passage, for instance, is lacking freedom or breath or a kind of natural, free quality to it, I'll put the baton down and I'll encourage one or two players to improvise. Or I might even take my flute and improvise myself. You're listening to the moment. You're not obeying a page. It doesn't help to isolate things and put them in boxes. Things relate to each other. And that relation is what wakes up our senses and our ability to control the moment. There is definitely a role for the conductor to instill a vision and a direction for the music that goes beyond playing together. In fact, only part of the role of a conductor is to help people play together. It's an important part, but it's not the fundamental part. The fundamental part is to inspire. I've dedicated my whole creative energy into what I call the method called love. So many details go into creating music. All talk about technique, music, intellect, history, context is all relevant. But if I'm to be absolutely, fundamentally honest with you, you only need one word, and that word is love. I take that word in describing the control of a muscle, the refinement of a movement. You cannot do that if you're at war with that moment. It is an exercise in love, because where love exists, there is respect, there's awareness, there's joy, there's commitment, there's passion. The why behind the music will always be more important than the how. Because you might have the greatest idea in the world, but if it's not born out of love, it's not going to be quite at the same level.